grandchildren, and Kayla's 3, Charles has 3, and Maurice has 2. That means 8 grandchildren. Please go.
Now, we're actually trying to put the life story of Granny on camera, so that all the great stories
of my life
that you've told us will not be lost.
Yeah.
And that we'll be able to hear them in many, many years to come.
Yeah.
And laugh all the way.
Yeah.
And so I think what we should do is we should start when you were 10 years old.
Yes, I think that I could remember when the war broke out in 1914, and we have been then in a place in Poland, in a town called Lapy. When we could hear already the shooting, which were not far behind our town, then my father and mother decided that we will pick up the big business, which we had. We call out from Bialystok packers, and they will pick up all the shop with the materials, and that they did. And I remember like today, we had 14 kippers. Kippers is a bundle that the baker makes. And then just a moment, no. Then my father ordered for us a goods train, a goods wagon, that we could take all our goods in the goods wagon and our family. So my mother and the children picked up in that goods wagon, and a Zeppelin came. At that time it was Zeppelins. It looked like a little pig. And they dropped a bomb on the line, so we couldn't go away. So we stayed over in the train till tomorrow. And on the tomorrow, my mother said, let me see whether I have all my children. And she said, 1, 2, 3. Oh, where is Simcha? No, Schlemke. Oh, where is Schlemke? I forgot him in the house. So she ran back to the house, and Schlemke was sleeping in bed. So they took Schlemke, put him in the train. So she had all the children. So she accounted, she had Schlemke, she had, it was like this, Sam, Schlemke, and Simchale, and me and Chaitschele, 5 kinder, 5 children. So
Solly was there too.
Solly was together. So we had 5 children. And my father said, you go with the goods train, because that'll take a long time, but I will take the passenger train, so I will arrive quicker, and I will prepare for you a house where to come down. So my father went with the passenger train, and we started to go with the goods train. Now, if I will tell you how you come with the goods train and how you eat, you wouldn't believe. But in the meantime, I'm terribly thirsty, so interrupt for 1 moment, I'll have a cup of tea. Like this. Tea coming in a child. For 1 moment. So that we went slowly, we started slowly to go to the, to go with the train. So say you come in a station farther. And you're already hungry, you want to feed your family. So you have in the goods train, you have, it's called a camphorka. It's like today the Africans are using to cook with charcoal on top, and underneath you make the fire. But that was a round piece of iron with 3 legs. You put this on the ground, you put the wood underneath, you make the fire, you put your pot on top, and you cook. What do you cook? Kukurudza. It's yellow millimel. And while it starts to cook, the train decided, the conductor of the train decided that we have to go. So he gave the whistle, phew! You hop the water and you pull on the fire, you hop the hot things, you hop your pot, you are in the train, you are going correct. Finished. So the next train, you do it again. Water you take on this in the station, there is always boiled water. Like this, we were going and going and going till we came to a place called Orsha, deep into Litva. There we stayed for another 6 weeks. And then we went back, we took again a goods train, and we came deep into Russia, Tambov, where my father was waiting for us. He was waiting on the train when we came in. He said he found for us a place where to live. We took a big, long wagon and put all the goods on the wagon. It was like a wagon like you transfer today, motorcar, a long one like a platform. All the goods we took and we brought to the place where my father rented for us, a basement room where the servant of the lady was upstairs and the servant was living downstairs, and there the servants cooked. So there the lady gave us one room from the servants' quarters. And we put in all our goods. I remember we were sitting on top of the goods so we could see. We were near the window and we could see on the legs. And my father said to my mother, Kelenka, ich fühl sich nicht gut. I don't feel well. What I want is to put you in a shop and make a start for you. And he went away and he rented a shop, a very beautiful, long shop. And the lady who rented the shop, her name was Ivleva. And there he took all the goods and he put in the shop and unpacked with mother and put on the shelves. And it didn't take long, he was very ill. He couldn't get a good doctor. It was a chaos. It was like today in Somalia. Thousands and thousands of people have come, and nobody had where to stay, and you couldn't get a doctor. If you asked today for a doctor, you could get it maybe in 3-4 days' time. So my mother decided she'll put my father in the hospital. And we were going every day to see my father. And my mother was already in the shop, and she had a salesman, and she had other people to help her to sell. The language she knew, the Russian. So it wasn't difficult, the goods she had. And so it didn't take long, my father died. My father couldn't take any more food. He didn't want to go to the military in his days. In his days, the military, the Russian military was maybe 10 years, maybe 8 years, very difficult for Jewish people. So everyone tried to do what they could in order not to be accepted. So what did he do? For a full year, he was drinking bicarbonate of soda and eating very little. So he burned his inside. And he couldn't take any food. But in Poland, where we were in Lapi, it was Russia then, he had his doctors in Warsaw. I remember his name was Soloveitchik. At one time he had an operation. My mother told me that all the insides were on the table. And they repaired it, and they washed it, and they did everything. And mother fed him an egg had to be for my father so fresh that the chicken just laid it. The milk had to be very fresh. She used to close the door, she told me, in the window, that the neighbors shouldn't hear the smell, because she did for him little chicken lachte, cipelonki we call it. You know, the 5, 6 chicks. But she used to cook this in butter, and that she gave father. But that was a crime in our place, because it's not kosher. But mother was terribly devoted to my father. And like she kept him. But when we came to there, they didn't have the food for him, they didn't have an hospital what he needed. He became thinner and thinner and thinner. And at one time I was there, and he took down the blanket and he said, a person like this can live, and a foot came out, it was bones, it was nothing on it. It didn't take long, my father died. I remember I went with my mother to the funeral. He found out that there is a relation of ours, Sheme, and he did the everything what a Jewish person, how it has to be conducted with the brochas on the cemetery. And I remember my mother said, if not for Sheme, your father would have been thrown in the earth like a potato. Those were her words. She was very devoted to Sheme and very thankful. And later Sheme and his family came to live with us in the same place in Tambov, in the same building. We had one room and they had another room. And somebody else had a room. There were 3 rooms. And we cooked in a kitchen, all the 3 of us. That was how it is. Then my little sister Chaichele got very ill. Chaichele got measles on the way. With measles you have to keep warm and in the darkness. It couldn't be warm in the train and it couldn't be dark in the train. And the measles went in inside. And she started to get convulsions, and she was very ill. There I think we got a doctor, but she died very quickly after my father. So we buried my Chaichele also. She was only 3 years old, or 2 years, very small, maybe 2.5 years. I remember I used to call this such, you know, on a cradle. How do you call it in English? If you...
Rock the cradle.
A rock, yes. I remember I used to rock the cradle and sing for her. She died. So we remained, 3 of us, 4 of us. Because Chaichele died, we were 5. And Simcha, Sem went to Cheder, and Soli went to Cheder. And Simchale went to Cheder. And they didn't like Simchale. I think Simchale came on Sem and said, wait a event. I will not go in Cheder. It's the walls are from lame, from what is lame? I haven't got a word for it. You know, you make lame cement and sand, and you make together, and then
glue.
Not glue.
What?
How do you build a house and you take a stone with a stone and you make them together?
Concrete.
Concrete. He said, it's concrete walls, I don't go to a cheder like that. And he came back. Then Solly get lost. He had to come from cheder. He forgot how to come, he got lost, he went to the police station. So, and we went to complain that we lost her. My mother went to complain she lost her son. So they said in that police station there is a little boy, a Jewish little boy. So my mother came and got him, brought him back. And we asked him, what did they give you to eat? And he said, beans. So we called it Bevla. From that day on, there wasn't solid. It was Bevla Kuhn, Bevla Gay. And we laughed from here. We laughed from Simcha, we called him a Wayman event. He was talking with a L, Wayman event. And this was, and we went on, the children went on. And I had to be the mommy. Because my mommy went away early morning to the business and she left me with the children. The girl, the ladies' girl, she cooked for us. But I had to feed them, I had to warm up the food. I had still a lot to do. See that they are dressed, that they are undressed, that they got to rest. It went on like this for quite a while. Then we got a very nice house, a double-story one, and we went over to live in that double-story house. At that time, I was already growing up. My mother took for me a teacher that she came to the house to teach me because I was already 11, more than 11. I couldn't start in the beginning. So I had to learn privately that that I can go to the gymnasium. I remember the girl which came to teach me hanged up in our kitchen a big map. And she taught me. She taught me geography, mathematics, reading, writing. And then one day, I was I think the 3rd class I went in. And I had to have the exam. And my mother combed my hair and washed and made 2 zeppelach like that. And a beautiful red ribbon here and a red ribbon here. And she looked at me and her eyes were twinkling like I have a beautiful child. And I went away for that test and everything was good. The geography was perfect. The mathematics was also good. But when it came to dictation, I made a few failures, a few mistakes. And it came out, the result, that I'm not through to the 3rd class of gymnasium. I have to learn more, and they'll give me in a few months' time another exam. And I took again the teacher, and she was teaching me. In the meantime, the communists came up very strongly, and you couldn't buy any more goods. You could sell a lot, but there wasn't where to buy. You couldn't go to Moscow to buy the goods. And my mother decided to close the shop. And she closed the shop. And quite a bit of goods she brought over to the house, and the rest was sold. You could sell, but you couldn't buy. And she never went to the shop again. For the goods which we have, we used to go and get something to change material for flour. I remember we had a sack of flour. That was a fortune, a sack of flour. So we could bake bread. And most probably meat, she changed for. I know we weren't hungry, we had enough food. And the money which we had, my mother, in the window sill was as white as that. The building in Russia is as thick as that. And here where the window is a piece of wood, the sill of the window. And my mother lifted up that wood and scooped out a few bricks. Houses are built there from bricks. And she put all her money there. And she covered again with the wood. And here we put cups and saucers. But the communists knew that we are very rich people. One night they attacked us. We knew that the time is a very dangerous one. So my mother get herself a big piece of iron arrangement that you put on the beginning of the door and you put up till here on things like this. And then you take a key, a lock, and the lock was such a long one. And we had the key like this, like this, like this, and that was locked. But we were upstairs, so the only things we had to safeguard is our door. The door was safeguarded. A wagon of people came down, they came to the door and they said, open up the door, we have to make a search. You are having business, you are brewing liquor. You are making liquor. So open up the door, we have to have a search. My mommy said, I won't open the door. You come tomorrow morning. That was maybe 12 o'clock at night. Maybe 11 o'clock at night. Winter, full of snow. You looked outside, everything was white. She said, no, I won't open the door. Come in the morning. They said, open the door. Mommy said, no, I won't open the door. So they start to tear the door, like that, like that, like that, like that. Then my mommy heard that the door is starting to give. She said, children, everyone open the window and cry, Gewalt in Rattelet. That means, save us, Jewish people, Gewalt, save us. Not far, but maybe an old block away was a meeting, and one of the people heard it. He said, I think it's a Jewish voice. They asked for help. They went out and they heard, the echo came, and they heard, and they started to whistle. At that time, everybody had a whistle. And if you were attacked, you whistle for police. And the police had the gun on him. So they whistled. They got frightened. They said, "Подожди, не раха. Возьмем больше силы и придем." That means you wait, you ugly one. We'll take more strength and we'll come back. Till the morning, when the people didn't come to us because we stopped to shout. I think they came and we explained to them what it is. And in the morning, my mother went to the police station to explain what had happened in the night. And when she came back, she said, I think it's the same people. So she said, you know what, Kinderla, we are going back to Poland. They didn't get us this time, they'll get us another time. They marked us that we have the money, they will kill us and they'll take the money. Let us go. She went away, I don't know where. But she came with a permission that she can go back to our place. Our place was then Germany. German occupied. Russia lost and German occupied. So we came back to Germany, to Latvia. And when we came back, what can I tell you? It was only hunger. Everybody craved for food, and food you couldn't get. But we still brought with us goods. So we used to go to the villages, but only the children could go. I used to go, my mother's sister's children used to go. There were another two families, my mother's sister, the children. We used to go to the village and bring potatoes, flour, milk, butter, eggs, for the goods, whatever they want to exchange it. And like this we went on till Russia lost and Germany lost. In Germany, a revolution broke out. You will find this in the history. the revolution broke out because they lost the war, so they had all kinds of complaints that if the leader wasn't a good one, and the Germans ran away, and the Russian came back, so they had another war, and the Polish people stood up and said, we were occupied for 100 years, now we want our Polska back, nasza Polska. And it was, I think it was in Versailles, a session, and they got Poland back. So we became Polanders. So I didn't know Polish. So I couldn't go to school. So I took a teacher. But my mother said, you can't afford to pay for a teacher. I said, okay, Mommy, I'll find another girl, we'll share the hour. So I find the girl, Cerebrolo. She went with me to the teacher, which was in a school, and she gave us lessons. And like this I learned till maybe I was 20. Private. And then I went to Bialystok to have a session for bookkeeping. I finished a bookkeeping course. In the night you go, in evening classes. So I had the bookkeeping course, and I read a lot of Polish and Yiddish books. Yiddish, I can tell you, there isn't one book, a Jewish one, that I didn't read, because I was all the day in the shop with my mother,